today we're reading about some more entitled people and it's going to be so fun. I'm not going to waste any time, so let's get straight into it. Enjoy, guys. My uncle's draining my 100-year-old grandfather's bank account dry every single month. For some background, my maternal grandfather had 2 children, my mum and my uncle. Grandma died 30 plus years ago. Mum died 3 years ago. Up until last year, Grandpa lived with my drug addict uncle in an apartment in a suburb of my city. When my uncle passed out while standing up and hurt his hip so badly that he had to go to the hospital for surgery and rehab almost 2 years ago, my siblings and I realized just how bad Grandpa's living conditions in that cesspool of an apartment were. The heavily blood-stained bed sheets alone would be enough to make you barf. It took me a few months due to my own living situation, but I was able to move Grandpa in with me last year. We had to strip him down and change him into brand new clothes without letting them touch any surface, have him walk barefoot to the car, and bring nothing with him but his walker, wallet, phone, charger, and glasses case. So far, it appears we avoided bringing any bed bugs. My uncle didn't want me to, of course, but what was he going to do? Any complaint or call he tried to make would result in somebody from some agency seeing his apartment, and then him getting evicted at best and arrested at worst. Grandpa was in such bad shape, I was 100% sure all I could do was let him spend his last few days or weeks in a clean, pleasant environment. Instead, he went from a size medium to a size extra large, celebrated his 100th birthday, and is still going strong. At my uncle's, he always claimed that he wasn't hungry, but now that nobody was telling him they couldn't afford food, he had a 100% normal appetite, mostly for pudding, but he's under doctor's orders to eat whatever he wants. I bought him a bed, mattress, and clothes, 2 whole wardrobes when he gained weight from actually being able to eat, things to store them in, a comfy chair, and a table. He's still using the Android phone I got him a few weeks after Mum died, since he couldn't borrow hers anymore. He can never remember how to text or make calls, but he can answer calls and loves to surf the web. It's on my plan and I pay the whole bill. The cable and internet had been shut off at the apartment for months, so it upgraded to an unlimited data plan, and it had been his only source of entertainment there. I don't take any money from him for utilities or any other household expenses. My roommate allowed him to use a mini fridge, nightstand, and 2 lamps that he wasn't using. My brother bought him a TV and bought over an entertainment center from his garage to display it. The grandkids and great-grandkids are able to come and visit. Nobody but me could even bear to set foot in that filthy apartment even before we realized how severe the conditions were. No way could we subject children to it. We've had 2 big parties for his 100th birthday and Father's Day. We have 4 cats here who he loves to receive visits from during the day. I did register him to vote at this address, and I ordered him a mail-in ballot box every primary and general election. I was able to get him set up with the VA's home care program, so VA doctors come give him checkups and give him vaccines and draw his blood for testing, etc. All here at home, something that my uncle never could have done, even if he had the energy to be aware of it, because he couldn't let medical personnel see the filth that he was living in. A social worker came to meet with him and got his wishes regarding care and end of life on the record. They have a home health aide come 3 different times a week to do bathing, shaving, etc. and also connected us with a podiatrist who makes house calls for the elderly for nail care. Yeah, old people's nails are really incredibly thick and stiff, and they can't just be clipped the way that we do ours, but I digress. So his toenails are no longer sharp and gnarly. In short, his life and health are a million times better and happier here. My sister, a medical assistant, regularly texts me thanking me for taking him in so he wouldn't end up in the nursing home she sees on the job. It was around Father's Day this year that my dad voiced what I'd been feeling for a while, but I never said aloud or let myself fully consciously think that I saved his life. Okay, story time. My uncle handed over Grandpa's debit card when we moved him out. He must have known that I'd just apply him for a new one if he didn't. I'd snagged a bank statement from the apartment in the weeks leading up to him moving out, so I had Grandpa's account number, and Grandpa knows his own social security number, so with his consent and participation, I set up mobile banking for his account on my phone so I can monitor his balance, and when he gets his social security and war pension deposits, most expenses are paying for meds online, Instacart orders, and $300 a month to a debt collector, because of course he just gave my mum his credit card a few years before she literally drank herself to death, and nobody was making payments on it for years. We got the letter about that not long after I filed his change of address. The debt was in his name, and I didn't want to deal with the headache of them continuing to come after him while he was alive or after he died, so I set up a monthly payment plan online. It'll be paid off in 3 months. My uncle had also let Grandpa's medical bills go unpaid for a while, and had eventually signed up for a tiny monthly payment plan for that, because paying for it all at once would have meant less money for my uncle to take at the time. I paid off the balance all at once. Naturally, my uncle took all of his money when Grandpa lived with him. The first month after we moved him out, my uncle tried to tell me that Grandpa still owed him half the rent every single month because his name was on the lease. I believed him, but I called the manager at the number number listed in their lobby, and I asked when their lease was up, and I shared the story of how I had to move him out because my uncle could no longer care for him. The manager was confused. Grandpa's name wasn't even on the lease, only my uncle's. Oh, you don't say. My uncle never responded to my text mocking him for such a stupid lie, but just because Grandpa was out from under his roof didn't mean the request for money had stopped. For one, my uncle had already entered Grandpa's debit card in the Grubhub app on his phone, so he still often uses it to order Grubhub several times a month. Was doing it almost daily before I lost my temper over it via text. They both have Cash App on their phone, and while Grandpa doesn't know how to use it, when my uncle asks him for money, Grandpa always consents, so I have to send it or Grandpa will get beyond distressed and upset. Grandpa doesn't have dementia or anything. For 100, his mental faculties are incredible. He can't remember what day it is and will ask the same question 3 different times in 1 minute, but he recognizes everybody. He can read and watch TV and comprehend it all, tell you what he needs and, except for some repeating, have completely normal conversations, but he's always been a sucker when my leech of a mum and uncle ask for money. He's incapable of saying no, and if I just refuse to let him do it, or refuse to let him talk to my uncle, like blocked his number or something, it would just upset him. So my uncle keeps on requesting money daily starting halfway through every single month, and he always gets it. Tonight he agreed to give my uncle $56. Too bad, it's the end of the month, and he's broke, and so am I. I really am. I get paid in 2 days. I didn't tell Grandpa that he's broke because he wouldn't understand why and he would panic, but I did break down all expenses he had this month, and I texted the amounts to my uncle to prove that he was broke, and that it wasn't because I'm taking money from him. Between Grubhub and his constant request for money, my uncle took $789 this month alone. From the 100-year-old father he almost neglected literally to death, I took $35 for 2 Uber rides so I could get home faster to make him dinner on 2 days. Grandpa has told me my money's your money, and to use it how I want because I take care of him. I would never do that, but I occasionally use it for Uber rides home. Only if I'm going home to do chores or make dinner, never for anything fun. And what did my uncle respond? That I should never have set up a payment plan for the debt from the unpaid credit card bill. They would never go after a 100-year-old man. Yeah, that's the issue. I told him to take it up with them or mum, and he didn't reply. Never pay any debt is my uncle's philosophy of life. When an electric bill came when he was in the hospital, he told me to just send them $50 so they won't turn the lights off. I paid the whole $200 plus balance from Grandpa's card because I didn't trust that it worked that way, and the thought of Grandpa being alone in the apartment when the power went out bothered me a lot more than him having less money in his account for my uncle to take. I shared the numbers with my sisters and dad. They agree that it's unconscionable, but they also have no idea how to stop it because Grandpa just won't say no, and the only alternative is upsetting him by refusing to let him keep giving the money. Would it be worth it? Would it be safe for his health? We're not afraid of our uncle getting the law involved. Again, getting any outsiders involved in his business is a risk that he cannot take, no matter what, but we're afraid of the effect it would have on Grandpa. We currently get along great. If he starts seeing me as an enemy or lashing out at me, our living arrangement would be a disaster. That seems to be the only way to stop his son from bleeding him dry, and despite our rage over his son using him this way to fund his drug habit, nobody's suggesting that we risk that. And people say that your kids will take care of you in your old age. Huh? Oh, that's so sad. But good on you for doing everything you have done for them, OP. Such an awful situation, but you made it so much better. The next one is called Entitled Boss Fires Me, but Still Wants to Be Friends. It's even worse than the title. I've been this family's nanny for 3+ years. Youngest child is only 6. I took 6 days off at their insistence because I was having a miscarriage. The day before I was due to return, I got told, "We've actually managed without you, so could you just work tomorrow and then we don't need you anymore, but we can still be friends and meet up." Oh, that's so awful. I worked that day, picked up my stuff, dropped off their keys. By the time I'd driven home, she'd blown up my phone with messages saying, "I'm upset too, you know." I blocked her number. She's now harassing my husband. Sorry, honey, you don't get to fire somebody during one of the most traumatic moments of their life and then expect them to stay friends with you. Nor will I come running back when you realize you have no childcare. Oh, that's disgusting. So sorry you had to deal with this, OP. So revolting. And the audacity. Like, oh yeah, I'd love to stay friends with you because you're definitely acting like a friend. Ew. The top comment says, "What do you bet they start calling you to come back the minute their kid gets sick or difficult?" No, your former employee knew that she was being horrible, and she's only trying to make herself feel better by still offering friendship as the lady tries to wrench the knife that she stabbed you with out of your spine. I'm so sorry for your loss. Yeah, same here, OP, and that's 100% right. They were only doing it to try to make themselves feel better, and if that's a friend, you don't need a friend like this. The next one is called Dear Parents, Your Vacation is Not Your Nanny's Vacation. My cousin, let's call her Amy. She currently is a nanny for a new family and it's going well. She made the mistake of not setting boundaries with the first family. When she was hired for the first job, she was told the family takes a vacation every single year to the beach and Disney World in Florida, and how beautiful it is and how lucky she'll be to be able to go. My cousin said that her idea of a vacation would be to go skiing, noting the fact that her idea for vacation is not theirs. So in August, the parents were besides themselves because Amy had not committed to going on vacation with them. The father said to her via email something along the lines of she should feel honored to be able to get a free trip to Disney World and how expensive it is and she'll never be able to afford to go on her own, like she even wanted to go. Here's the problem the family don't seem to understand. This is your vacation, not your nanny's. This family has 4 kids, ages 3, 6, 8, and 12, and she works her ass off when she has them. My cousin said she was having panic attacks thinking about trying to keep 4 kids safe at Disney World, and how the parents are useless when she's around, save for times when the mother will want her to go to family outings and the agreement is they work as a team. The family tried to throw in her face that her airfare and travel would be paid for, so she would be expected to take a pay cut. There's not much more to this story, but I'm so proud of my cousin for refusing to go and letting the family know it's a vacation for them and not her. Families who can afford a traveling nanny, let alone a nanny, is definitely considered a luxury to most. You need that nanny to go on vacation with you more than the nanny wants to go. So what if, God forbid, the nanny may end up enjoying herself one night? You should want your nanny to enjoy herself even if one night, so she'll go again next year, and stop with the culty your family. That only leads to manipulation. Your nanny is your nanny. Wow, the top comment is so sad. I remember one time at Disneyland, I saw this couple with their kids and a nanny, and when one of the kids got scared, the mother went to comfort the child, but the child completely ignored her and went to the nanny. That was so sad. Oh, that is sad. But yeah, how bloody frustrating. Like, oh yeah, a wonderful vacation where, like they said, they're having panic attacks about looking after their kids. Oh yeah, that's going to be fun for Amy, isn't it? The bloody audacity. And also they have the audacity to say that Amy should take a pay cut. I almost forgot about that part. Yeah, that's so wild. The next one is called Entitled Karen Didn't Want Me to Use the Bathroom. Granny yells at her. So my husband, 34 male, and I, 36 female, were coming back from upstate New York. We went to see my brother who's like 4 hours away from us. It was a long trip and I have kidney issues due to my lupus, so I rushed to the bathroom when we got to the Port Authority. For info, I'm short, chubby, and I use a walker. So when I got to the bathroom, I had no stalls to go to but one. There were lots of stalls. However, I could only use the disabled person stall because it was the only one big enough for my walker. So I waited outside of the stall for a while and then I knocked when it got to the 10-minute point. The woman huffed and said, "Use the other stall, biatch." I tell her I can't because I'm disabled. The lady gets up. This woman grumbled and I heard her flush twice. The toilets are automatic, so I'm guessing she was getting up, and then flushed again before she fully got up. She walks out of the stall and she was bigger than me in height and weight. She had long green cornrows and name brand everything, wearing a tracksuit. She looked mad. I really couldn't wait anymore though, so I rushed by to go to the bathroom. I was quick, but what I didn't expect was the lady banging on the stall telling me to get the F out. She did this over and over. I tell her I'm almost done, and when I walk out, it was the same woman. She says, "You stepped on my shoe. Do you know how much this is? More than 10 of your cart. If I see you again, I'll make sure that you're a paraplegic." Oh my God. Not a typo, this is how she said it. I'm freaking out because I think this crazy lady is going to kill me for leaving a tiny mark on her shoe. This is when I hear, "Biatch, shut your fat ass up. You ain't no thug." This woman then darts her eyes to a 4'11" granny. The woman had to be 80 something, but this granny was tough. This girl looked upset. The granny then looks at me and says, "Baby, are you okay?" I nod and she smiles. She then drags the larger woman out. I'm guessing this was her grandma because they look similar and she had the fear of God in her eyes. That was a weird bathroom trip, but one I won't forget. Wow, shout out to the grandma. Yeah, like this comment says, "Go granny, go." It's nice to see a Karen get put in their place. Yeah, it really is. Very satisfying. The next one is called My Entitled Boss Laid Me Off for Refusing to Come in on my weekend off. I've been in retail since 2009, and my now last job I was there since 2014. I won't go into huge details about the work environment. A lot of that can be seen on my profile of my other job posts, but to summarize, in the whole time I was there, my boss, despite saying that family time matters, would always screw over my personal time off. When I worked directly under him, a lot of times he would cancel my days off because he was taking a trip somewhere. Coupled with that, childish and immature co-workers who threw tantrums and gave silent treatments, I was at the end of my rope. My job mainly consisted of delivering building material. I had a certain certificate to operate a certain type of delivery truck. The certification was going to expire at the end of the year. About a week or so into January, HR came to do a review with me. During the review, they mentioned they're holding a course to revalidate the certification for everybody in the company in 2 weeks. They said, "It's on your weekend off, but are you able to attend?" I looked at my calendar and I said I had plans booked that day, so it doesn't work to my schedule. The company wanted to get everybody done at once. That way they save money on group training. HR just said, "See what you can do to attend," and I said that my plans were set in stone, and things were left at that. About a week before the course, HR emailed me again, saying that this course is critical for my job, so do try to attend. I replied that it doesn't work for my schedule, that I'd be happy to do it any other day, but this is going on during my weekend off. off where I made plans well in advance, so it doesn't work for my schedule. For a few days, there was nothing else. My boss owns a few stores, and one worker from another store came by who was also going to go to the course. He told me that he'd been making plans with his fiance for the last couple of months, but had to cancel them because they suddenly revealed this training course and had to attend. He wasn't too happy that the plans he made for months had to be cancelled. I said nothing to him. I figured it was his choice if he chose to do that. Then suddenly my boss began phoning me 2 days before the course. I recorded the conversation. Maybe in the future I'll upload it, but for now I'll transcribe what was said. AB will stand for a-hole boss. For some context, earlier that week I got a work truck stuck in the snow, and I called a tow truck to help pull me out, and I paid for it myself. It'll be important for what happens next, and this is roughly how it went. A-hole boss: hey OP, HR tells me you're unable to attend the training course. Me: that's correct. I unfortunately made plans in advance, so I can't attend. A-hole boss: after a moment of silence, I need you to get this training done. Me: I understand that, but I made plans well in advance, and I can't just cancel them. A-hole boss: okay, you realize when we notify you 2 weeks in advance, it doesn't mean it's optional. This is mandatory. At this point, I was starting to get mad. Me: I understand that, but I've been planning this weekend since early December. I'll be out a lot of money if I cancel. A-hole boss: what are you doing? Me: that's a private matter. I can't discuss that. A-hole boss, after a moment of silence: how much is that towing bill costing me? Me: I paid for that myself because that was my screw up. A-hole boss, silent again for a few seconds. Okay, then you're gonna have to do this training on your own time and your own money then. The training itself cost only a few $100s, but by this point I'd had it with my boss. Me: well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. A-hole boss, silent again. This is pretty rich coming from you. Me: well, I'm sorry, but I received no heads up, no communication that this was being planned for that date. I know there were plans to do my training early in December, but never heard anything about it since September or October. A-hole boss, silence again. OP, I'm not happy right now. Me: well, I'm sorry, but I have a life. I can't just cancel stuff when I make plans on my day off. A-hole boss, okay, good enough, bye. Me: bye. So for a week I heard nothing. I continued my job as normal while looking for a new job because I'd had it with my boss. 9 years of all of this, I'd reached my breaking point during that phone call. This boss always screwed me over for my personal time off, and this was the last straw of trying to force me to come in on my scheduled weekend off. And then 1 week after, towards the end of the day, HR showed up. They informed me they were laying me off due to extremely slow season with hopes of having me come back in spring. I said nothing, choosing to leave on a high note, but I knew that it was really their way of firing me without firing me. That way they avoid paying severance, which would have been in the tens of thousands of dollars. I estimate between 10 and 40,000. Unfortunately, I've got no real way of proving it's retaliation. All their paperwork though, I know is a lie. Say that I got laid off for lack of work, etc. The only proof I have is recently I had to contact the insurance provider for my company to get a letter of experience from them. The agent I spoke with said that he recognized my name, saying that my now former employer recently removed me from their insurance coverage. Other than that backhanded move, I'm glad to be out of there. I was unhappy, I was stressed, and I was fed up. I'm using the time to advance my driver's license to have the highest one I can get in my country. If anybody is curious to know what stories in my profile pertain to this company or this boss, feel free to look or message me. I'll tell you which ones they are. Wow, that's so frustrating. What's the point of having time off if it isn't even bloody time off? Oh, that sucks, OP. And yeah, that's enough for today. I hope you guys had a wonderful time today, but we need to read something wholesome. 6-year-old me helping my mum make her bed. Oh my god, that's so funny. Look at me, I'm a ghost. Yeah, I've definitely done that before, and I feel like everybody sort of has. So cute. 30-year-old me around real adults. 30-year-old me around teenagers. Yeah, how true is that? Depending on who you're surrounded by, you can feel either so old or so young. That's so funny though. I love these relatable ones. Telling guys to just man up, actually listening and giving them the love and support they deserve. Yeah, 1,000,000,000%. That matters so much. And yeah, on that note, that's enough for today. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you had a wonderful time. And if you did and you want to see more videos like this, make sure you like and subscribe. And the comment of the day today goes to Codman. I work in my store's dairy department. I get people asking me where the cheese is. Cheese makes up 1/3 of the entire aisle. Wow. That's so funny. Wait a second. Where's the cheese? Oh, that's right. I'm surrounded by cheese. It's everywhere. That's so funny. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for the support, everybody. That was such a fun episode, and I'm already ready for the next one. Make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And you know what I'm about to say because I say it every single day. Bye.